The lights blinded me before the pain did. I stood at the edge of the stage, hidden in the crowd, watching Sienna under the spotlight, her voice rapping around the melody I wrote. "She's singing my song," I whispered, my throat dry. Maya leaned closer. "You sure? It's mine," I cut her off. "Every word." "Every damn word." My hands trembled as I clutched the old lyric notebook to my chest. The same one Sienna and I used to share coffee stains and dreams over. The same one she swore she'd never touch without asking. She told me she just wanted to hear it, I muttered, barely breathing. "Not steal it." On stage, Sienna smiled, eyes glittering like she owned the stars. "I found my voice through your silence," she sang, the crowd erupting. I felt my chest tighten. "That line was about my dad," I said under my breath. "She didn't even change the verse." The crowd's cheers became a roar, drowning out everything else. I felt dizzy. When she hit the final note, people rose to their feet. Cameras flashed. "Reporters shouted her name. She's incredible!" Someone behind me yelled. I almost laughed. "Yeah, incredible thief." Maya grabbed my wrist. "Ivy, let's go before you do something stupid." "I already did something stupid," I whispered. I trusted her. We pushed through the audience, and I could still hear her voice echoing through the hall, my voice wearing her mask. Backstage was chaos. Assistants rushed around, security guards blocked doors, and champagne bottles popped somewhere. I stood near the exit, invisible, as Sienna walked past, surrounded by photographers. "Sienna, tell us, did you really write that song yourself?" one asked. She laughed softly. "Every word came from my heart," she said. My stomach turned. I stepped forward, but Maya stopped me. "Not here," she hissed. But Sienna saw me. For a split second, our eyes met. Her smile faltered. She looked away. That hurt more than the lie. Noah, my old producer, spotted me near the door. "Ivy, what are you doing here?" "Watching history repeat itself," I said bitterly. He frowned. "You think—" "I know, Noah, I wrote that song 3 years ago. She recorded it when I sent her my demo." Noah exhaled sharply. "Do you have proof?" I held up my notebook. Every lyric. Date, title, everything. He rubbed his temples. "Without a registration or contract, it's her word against yours." "So what, she wins because she's famous now?" "That's how it works," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." His pity was worse than her betrayal. Outside, the rain was falling hard. I walked alone down the alley, the sound of her encore faint in the distance. I stopped under a flickering streetlight and opened my notebook. The ink had faded on some pages, but the pain was still fresh. "She called it her masterpiece on live TV," I murmured. "My masterpiece," my phone buzzed. A news alert. Sienna Hart's new single debuts at #1. Fiancé Ethan Cross calls it a song written by an angel. I laughed bitterly. An angel who steals. Maya caught up with me, breathless. "Hey, don't let this destroy you." It already did. I closed the notebook. She was supposed to be my best friend. "You could go public," she said. "Expose her. And then what?" "No one believes a songwriter without a record deal," she hesitated. "Maybe Noah—" "He won't risk his career," I interrupted. "Nobody will." The rain soaked through my jacket, cold and heavy. I didn't move. "She took more than my song, Maya. She took my story, my voice." "Then take it back." I shook my head. "Not tonight." The city lights blurred through the rain. I felt hollow, like a note left hanging in silence. I went home to my small apartment, water dripping from my hair, the walls echoing with quiet. I threw my phone onto the couch and played the live performance on YouTube. Her voice filled the room again. "Don't cry," she sang. "The world will never hear the truth if you stay silent." I stared at the screen. "Yeah, you got that part right," I muttered. Comment sections flooded with praise. "She's a genius. Pure emotion. Award-winning material." I slammed my laptop shut. The sound startled me. It felt like closing a coffin. I sat by the window, watching headlights smear across wet streets. My reflection stared back at me. Tired eyes, trembling lips, a dreamer turned ghost. "Maybe I wasn't meant for this world," I whispered. Then I remembered her voice in the studio, years ago. "We'll make it together, Ivy, promise me." I clenched my fists. "You broke every promise." The rain softened. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled like applause for a lie. I picked up my pen and opened a fresh page. My hand hesitated, but I forced the ink to move. I won't disappear, I whispered to myself. Not because of you. The pen scratched out the first line. Tonight I buried my song, but not my soul. I smiled bitterly. Let's see what you steal next, Sienna. Then I turned off the lights, letting the darkness swallow the noise, the applause, the betrayal, everything. And for the first time that night, I allowed myself to cry. I heard your song again on the radio, Noah said, leaning back in his chair. My song? I asked flatly. He sighed. Yeah, Sienna's song, I forced a laugh. Right. Let's not forget who the world thinks wrote it. He rubbed his face. Ivy, you can't keep torturing yourself like this. Torture? I stared at him. Torture is hearing my lyrics turned into someone else's love story while I can't even afford rent. I know it's unfair, he said softly, but you need to move forward. Move forward to what? I snapped. Another song for someone else to steal? He stayed quiet, eyes full of sympathy I didn't want. I trusted her, I said, voice trembling. We wrote side by side. She said she'd never cross that line. And she did, he replied. So now what? You burn out or you rebuild? Rebuild, I repeated. With what money? What name? Nobody cares about the ghost behind the hit. Noah leaned closer. You still have talent. That's something she can't steal. Talent doesn't pay for coffee, I muttered. He smiled faintly. Then let me buy you one. I almost laughed, but it came out as a sigh. You think caffeine fixes betrayal? No, he said, standing up. But it helps you right through it. I watched him leave the studio. The silence that followed was heavy, too heavy. I turned toward the soundboard, hit play, and listened to my demo of the song, the original, raw, trembling version. My voice filled the room, cracked and imperfect. It sounded like me. It was me, I whispered. You gave my soul away, Sienna. Weeks passed. The song topped every chart, played in malls, cafes, weddings. The world hummed my pain without knowing it. Every time it played, I muted the world. Maya tried to help. You can't keep hiding, she said one night. I'm not hiding, I said, staring at the ceiling. I'm listening. To what? To silence, she frowned. That's not healthy. Maybe not. But silence doesn't lie, she exhaled. You're scaring me a little. Good, I said. Maybe fear keeps me sane. I spent my nights writing, deleting, rewriting. Every lyric felt hollow. The words didn't bleed anymore. They just sat there, soulless ink on paper. One night I opened my laptop to check an email from a music blog. I wasn't expecting much, but there it was, an announcement plastered across the homepage, Sienna Hart marries music icon Ethan Cross. I froze, my heartbeat pounded in my ears. Ethan Cross, I whispered. The man who sang my song. Maya peeked over my shoulder. You okay? I laughed bitterly. Of course. My thief just married my thief's partner in crime. She bit her lip. You should delete it. No, I want to see it. I scrolled down the photos. Sienna in white, Ethan in black tux, both smiling like the world belonged to them. She looks happy, Maya said cautiously. She looks rich, I corrected. Do you want revenge? I didn't answer. I stared at Sienna's hand resting on Ethan's chest, the same hand that once held my lyric book. She told me fame wasn't everything, I murmured. Guess she changed her mind, Maya hesitated. What are you thinking? That silence is louder than screaming, I said. What does that mean? It means if they want me gone, I'll make sure they can't escape me, even when I don't say a word, she frowned. That sounds dangerous. No, I said slowly. It's poetic, she sat beside me. Ivy, don't let this consume you. It already did, I said quietly. Now I'm just learning to live with the fire. I closed my laptop and looked at the reflection on the dark screen, my eyes sharp, steady. I'm done crying, I told her. Now I'm listening for the right note to strike back, Maya whispered. What will you do? I'll write, I said. But not for them. Not for approval. For me? You'll get back in the industry? I'll burn it down if I have to, she smiled nervously. That's the Ivy I remember. I'm not her anymore, I said. That Ivy died the night my song did. The room fell silent again, except this time it didn't feel empty. It felt like waiting. I whispered to the air, You wanted my silence, Sienna. Fine. I'll give it to you. But mine won't be quiet, it'll echo. I didn't need an invitation to their wedding. The whole world got one. Every headline screamed their names. Sienna Hart marries pop icon Ethan Cross in a star-studded ceremony. I stared at the photos online. Her white dress, his $1,000,000 grin. Perfect, I whispered. The thief and the performer. Maya leaned over my shoulder. You shouldn't do this to yourself. I just want to see how they celebrate my pain. She sighed. You're obsessing, wouldn't you? I shot back. She stole my song, my credit, and now she's marrying the man who made it famous. Maya didn't answer. She just placed a hand on my shoulder. You'll drive yourself crazy. Too late. I shut the laptop and stood up. I already live in their shadow. Days blurred. Every time I turned on the radio, Ethan's voice filled the air. Every lyric, every chord, it all sounded hollow now, like a ghost singing someone else's truth. I avoided music for weeks until one afternoon. While I sat in a corner cafe, a stranger approached me. Ivy Lane? She asked, sliding into the seat across from me. I looked up. Who's asking? Rachel Brooks. Soundwave magazine, I frowned. I'm not giving interviews, she smiled. Good thing I'm not asking for one. I'm just curious. About what? About why Ethan Cross's new songs sound like recycled echoes of something better. I raised an eyebrow. You mean my song? Her smirk widened. So it's true. I hesitated. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She leaned in. Everyone in the industry's whispering. His new album lacks heart. The emotion's gone. It's like he lost his muse. I stirred my coffee, pretending not to care. Maybe fame dulled his feelings. Or maybe, she said, lowering her voice, the ghostwriter left him. That word, ghostwriter, stabbed through me. You don't know what you're talking about, she chuckled softly. Maybe not. But my gut says there's a story buried under all that glitter. Something real. Something ugly. Even if there is, I said quietly, no one would listen. She tilted her head. People always listen to the truth, they just don't recognize it right away. Her confidence unsettled me. Why tell me this? Because I like underdogs, she said. And you, Ivy Lane, look like one ready to bite back. I froze, unsure whether to feel insulted or inspired. She stood up, tossing a business card onto the table. When you decide to speak, call me. Or better yet, write something that speaks for you. After she left, I stared at her card. Rachel Brooks, investigative music journalist Maya, joined me minutes later. Who was that? Someone who hears ghosts, I said softly. What? Nothing. I pocketed the card. Just someone reminding me that silence has limits. That night I couldn't sleep. I replayed Rachel's words over and over. Write something that speaks for you. I opened my old notebook, the one I swore I'd burned emotionally months ago. Its pages smelled like regret, but the pen in my hand felt alive again. I started writing without thinking. Lines about broken melodies, about fame built on lies, about a heart that keeps beating even when the world pretends it's dead. Maya's sleepy voice came from the doorway. You're up late again. Couldn't sleep, I said. Too many ghosts, she yawned. You're writing? Trying to. About her? I paused. About me this time. She leaned against the doorframe. You said writing hurt. It still does, I admitted. But pain's all I have left that's mine, she crossed her arms. What are you planning, Ivy? I smiled faintly. A song? Another sad one? No, one that bleeds the truth without naming names. She frowned. You think that'll make them confess? I don't need confession, I said. I need exposure, Maya tilted her head. And if nobody connects it to them? They will, I said firmly. Because guilt has an echo, and when the right note hits, they'll hear it. She looked at me for a long time before nodding. You're different now. I learned silence doesn't heal, it rots. Maya smiled weakly. Then make some noise. I looked at my half-written lyrics. Truth sounds like thunder when you've lived in storms. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel hollow. The next morning, I called Noah. He sounded surprised. Ivy, you okay? Define okay, I said. He laughed softly. That bad, huh? I want to record something, I said. He hesitated. You're writing again? Yes, but this time no credits, no contracts, no names. He paused. That sounds dangerous. Good, I said. Dangerous means alive. There was a long silence before he asked, "What's it called?" I looked down at the page. "I don't know yet," I admitted. "But it'll haunt them," he exhaled. "Then let's make them listen." When I hung up, I sat at my piano, fingers trembling above the keys. The first note came out sharp, aching, but real. It vibrated through the room like an accusation whispered to the universe. "Do you hear that, Sienna?" I whispered to the empty apartment. "That's the sound of your past catching up." And for the first time, the silence didn't scare me. It sang back. Noah's studio smelled like dust, coffee, and old dreams. He spun in his chair, grinning. "You sure you want to do this again?" "Yes," I said, "but differently this time." "Define differently." "No fame, no spotlight. Just truth. Hidden in melody." He nodded slowly. "I think I know the guy for that." "Who?" "Tyler Knox, new voice. Rough edges, but when he sings, it feels like the world stops pretending." "Bring him in," I said. "I want real." When Tyler walked in the next day, I wasn't prepared. He looked like chaos and heartbreak stitched into human form, messy hair, leather jacket, and eyes that carried storms. He grinned. "So you're the ghostwriter," I frowned. "Is that what they call me now?" "That's what legends start as," he said. "Ghosts," Noah laughed. "Play nice, Knox." Tyler leaned against the piano. "So what are we writing?" I handed him my notebook. "A song called Glass Hearts." He flipped through the lyrics, his lips moving silently. "Damn," he muttered. "This bleeds." "Good," I said. "It's supposed to." He looked up. "Who hurt you?" I hesitated. "Someone who thought stealing would make them shine." He nodded, understanding more than he should. "Then let's make it hurt back." We worked for hours. My fingers danced on piano keys while his voice cracked open every wound I'd tried to seal. "Slower," I said. "Let the pain breathe." He adjusted the tempo. "Like this?" "Yes," I whispered. "Exactly." When he hit the chorus, "We built love out of mirrors and called it forever," I felt something shift in my chest. Noah looked up from the console. "That's it. That's the sound." Tyler exhaled, sweat glistening on his temple. "You wrote this about someone, didn't you?" "Maybe," I said. "But names ruin art," he smirked. "Then let the mystery burn." Days blurred into nights. We rewrote lines, shaped harmonies, stripped away anything that sounded fake. The song wasn't just music, it was confession wearing a mask. Noah whistled as the final note faded. "You just wrote a weapon," Tyler laughed. "Good. I like weapons that sing." When we finished recording, I sat on the studio floor, staring at the glowing red Arec light. "It's done." Noah knelt beside me. "How does it feel?" "Like I buried something," I said. "And finally gave it a tombstone." He smiled softly. "Let's release it under Tyler's name. Keep your secret safe. That's the plan." Tyler glanced at me. "You sure you don't want credit?" "I want impact, not credit." He nodded slowly. "Then let's shake the world quietly." 2 weeks later, Glass Hearts hit the air. I didn't expect much, maybe a few streams, some niche listeners. But by the second day, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. "Have you seen this?" Maya texted. Glass Hearts challenge trending. People are crying over a song they don't understand. I scrolled through videos. Teenagers, mothers, even old men with trembling voices, everyone was singing my words. I called Noah. "What's happening?" He laughed breathlessly. It exploded. Tyler's everywhere. Interviews, covers, fan edits, people say it's the rawest love song in years. My heart raced. "Do they know?" "Not yet," he said. "But give it time." That night I sat in the dark, watching the live performance stream. Tyler stood on stage, guitar slung low, spotlight bathing him in gold. He looked straight into the crowd and said, "This song isn't about fame. It's about what happens when someone steals your heartbeat and calls it theirs." The audience went silent. Then he began to sing. His voice cracked on the first verse, and it was perfect. "You wore my truth like borrowed light, and I let you, just to keep you bright." People cried. I cried. Noah texted me. They're calling it too real. Minutes later, a tweet went viral. "Glass Heart sounds like a confession about Ethan Cross's old plagiarism scandal." Coincidence? I think not. Another followed. "This song feels like the real writer finally spoke." I laughed quietly through the tears. Let them guess, Maya called. You seeing this? I'm seeing everything, I said. Are you scared? No, for once I'm not. Then what are you feeling? I smiled faintly. Free. By morning, news outlets had headlines ready. Who really wrote Glass Hearts? Ethan Cross's ghost returns? Old scandals resurface, Noah called me. You sure you don't want to say something? I shook my head even though he couldn't see it. Silence speaks louder. Let them hear me in the music, Tyler texted later. You started a fire, I replied, then let it burn. A week passed. Streams hit millions. Sienna posted a photo, her smile forced, her captions defensive. Maya showed me. They're panicking. Good, I said softly. They should, she studied me. You're enjoying this. Not enjoying, I said, just balancing the scales. Noah dropped by the next day, handing me a copy of the singles vinyl. For you? The song that knew your pain. I ran my fingers over the title. Glass Hearts. It's beautiful, I whispered. He smiled. It's justice. When he left, I played the record one more time. As Tyler's voice filled the room, I closed my eyes. For the first time, I didn't feel bitterness, only peace. My song had finally found its way home, and I didn't have to say a single word. I didn't plan for revenge to look this elegant. It unfolded like a slow song, painful, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. Noah called one morning, laughing breathlessly. You seeing this? What now? I asked, sipping my coffee. Ethan's meltdown on Live Sound Weekly. He forgot his own lyrics. I smiled faintly. Guess the words don't fit when they're not yours, he chuckled. You really don't feel bad? Bad? I repeated. No, just balanced. The world had turned upside down. Every interview Ethan gave sounded like an apology hiding behind arrogance. The media sensed it. The tremor in his voice, the sweat, the forced smiles. His label postponed his tour, blaming creative exhaustion. I scrolled through headlines. Glass Hearts outsells Cross's album. Fans demand answers each. Tidal felt like an invisible hand, tightening around his pride. Then came Sienna's photos, her perfect grin cracking just enough to show the fracture beneath. The comments were brutal. She looks tired. Is this guilt or Botox? Noah texted. Your silence is working better than any statement ever could. I replied. Silence always hits hardest when they expect screams. A week later, I was in the studio with Tyler when his phone buzzed. He frowned. They're saying Ethan canceled his live show again. Panic attacks, apparently. I kept my gaze on the piano. Funny how guilt mimics illness. Tyler looked at me. You really think they feel guilt? Not at first, I said. But cracks spread fast in fragile glass. He smirked. You'd know. You built the song that broke him. I didn't answer. I just kept playing. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity won. Hello? A shaky breath. Then, Ivy? I froze. That voice. Sienna. I need to ask you something, she whispered. Did you write that song? The silence between us felt alive. I leaned back, letting the weight of years rest on my tongue. Which one? Her breath hitched. You know which one. Glass Hearts. It sounds like you. It feels like you, I laughed quietly. Funny, you used to say I was too emotional to write hits. Ivy, please, she said. I'm not calling to fight. No? I asked. Then why are you whispering like your husband's listening from the next room? Her voice cracked. He's been different lately. Paranoid. Distant. He says people look at him like he's a fraud. Maybe they see what was always there, I said softly. I never meant for it to go this far, she whispered. It wasn't supposed to destroy him. Destroy him? I repeated. You destroyed me first. I was desperate, she said. You had talent, I had opportunity. I thought, that stealing my song would make you famous? I cut in. It did. For a while. Ivy, please. I'm trying to make things right. Then start by admitting what you did, I said. Her silence was answer enough. You can't, can you? I asked quietly. You built your whole life on my voice. You married the man who profited from my pain. And now you want forgiveness? I want peace, she said. Peace isn't free, I replied. Ivy, you'll never know, I said, my voice calm, almost kind. Then I hung up. For a long time, I sat staring at my reflection in the dark screen of my phone. My hand was steady. My heart wasn't racing. That was new. Noah texted a few minutes later. Ethan just walked off stage mid-song. Fans booed. It's everywhere. I typed back, "Karma's got perfect timing." He replied with a single emoji, a flame. I smiled. The next morning, Tyler dropped by the studio. "You look different," he said. "Lighter," I replied. "Because of them?" "Because of me," I said. "For the first time, I'm not reacting. I'm writing my own rhythm," he grinned. "Then maybe you should write another one." "I already am," I said, tapping the piano. "It's called Silent Symphony," he laughed. "Another weapon?" "Another truth," I corrected. "Same target." That night, I saw Sienna's new interview. Her voice trembled as she smiled for the cameras. They asked about Glass Hearts. She said, "It's a beautiful song. Whoever wrote it, they must have lived it." I almost laughed. For once, she wasn't lying. I turned off the screen and sat in silence, letting the satisfaction hum beneath my skin. The cracks in their paradise were finally wide enough for the truth to seep through, and I didn't need to lift a finger. I woke up to 50 missed calls. My phone buzzed like a hive gone mad. Noah's name flashed first. I groaned, answering. "If this isn't about breakfast, I'm hanging up." He didn't laugh. "Ivy, turn on your laptop now." "What happened?" "Rachel Brooks just dropped a bomb." I sat up, rubbing my eyes. "What kind of bomb?" "The kind that explodes careers." My heart thudded. "Send me the link." Seconds later, it was on my screen. The real voice behind the music. By Rachel Brooks. I clicked. My hands trembled. The article didn't name names. But it didn't need to. Time-stamped files, studio session screenshots, and lyric notes with my handwriting. It was all there. Every stolen piece of me laid bare for the world. I whispered, "She actually did it." Noah exhaled. "She did it smart." She never said Ivy, but anyone who can read between the lines knows exactly who the real writer is. I read every line slowly. Rachel wrote, "Sometimes the industry crowns thieves as geniuses, forgetting that ink leaves fingerprints, and the truth never dies." I closed my eyes. She used my quote. What quote? The one I told her months ago after her joke about ghosts writing songs. Noah chuckled. Guess the ghost finally got her haunting rights. By noon, the internet was chaos. Real Voice trended. Ethan Cross Exposed trended higher, Maya called. "You did it." "I didn't," I said. "Rachel did." "You gave her the story," she said. "You gave her your pain." I didn't think she'd actually publish it. Well, she did, and it's spreading like wildfire. I could hear her smile through the phone. "You should see the comments. People are tearing Ethan apart." "I don't want to see that," I said quietly. "I just want to breathe." A few hours later, Rachel called me herself. "Hey," she said softly. "You okay?" "I don't know," I admitted. "You didn't warn me." "I couldn't," she said. "If I told you, you might have tried to stop me." She wasn't wrong. "I didn't use your name," she added quickly. "But I used the truth, and truth doesn't belong to anyone." "I know," I said. "It just feels strange. Like I've been waiting for this for years, and now that it's here, I don't know what to do with it." "Breathe," she said. "That's what you do with justice. You inhale it," I laughed faintly. "You sound like a poet." "I learned from one," she replied. That night, Ethan's world fell apart publicly. His sponsors dropped him within hours. His label announced they were reevaluating partnerships. His fans demanded answers, receipts, apologies. Noah sent me screenshots of his apology post. I never intended to hurt anyone. I was misled. I trusted the wrong people. I muttered, "Of course he blames everyone but himself." Noah laughed bitterly. "Classic Cross. He's trending for all the wrong reasons." I said nothing. I didn't need to. Later, my phone rang again. "Rachel, did you see his live apology?" "No," I said. "I don't need to." "He looked broken," she said. "Like someone finally turned on the lights in his perfect little world." "Good," I said quietly. "He lived too long in the dark." She hesitated. "You sure you're not going to speak up? People deserve to know it's you." I shook my head even though she couldn't see. "They already do. They just don't need me to say it." Rachel was silent for a moment. "You're stronger than I thought." "No," I said. "Just tired of screaming into walls." When the news hit that Sienna deleted her accounts, I didn't feel joy, just peace. Maya texted me a screenshot of her final post. Sometimes silence is the only confession. I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied, "She finally learned something from me." Noah came by that evening with 2 coffees and a smirk. "You look calm." "Scary calm." "I slept last night," I said. "Like really slept," he raised an eyebrow. "First time?" "In years," I admitted. He sat across from me. "You don't regret it?" "Regret?" I repeated. "I didn't publish the truth. I just stopped hiding from it," he nodded. "And now?" "Now," I said, "I write again. But not out of pain, out of peace," he smiled. "That's new?" "Feels new," I said. "Feels clean." Before leaving, Noah glanced at my piano. "You writing something already?" "Maybe," I said. "A song called After the Echo." He tilted his head. "About them?" "About me," I said. "About what's left after the storm," he smiled. "Then I can't wait to hear it." When he left, I sat alone, the quiet of my apartment heavy but kind. I opened the window. The city hummed below, horns, footsteps, fragments of life that kept moving no matter who fell. For years, I wanted the world to hear my voice. Tonight it finally did. Not through shouting or pleading, but through truth that refused to stay buried. I didn't need applause. I didn't need credit. All I needed was silence, the kind that comes after justice sings its last note. And for the first time, silence sounded like peace. I was leaving the cafe when I heard my name. Ivy, I froze. The sound of her voice dragged me back years, to the betrayal, the stage lights, the silence that followed. I turned slowly. Sienna stood by the curb, wrapped in a coat that looked too big for her. Her hair was dull, her makeup smudged, and her eyes, those perfect green eyes, had lost their shine. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I stared for a moment before replying. "What could you possibly have left to say?" She flinched. "I know I don't deserve your time."
"But please."
"Just 5 minutes." I sighed and gestured toward a nearby bench. "Fine, 5 minutes." We sat. The air between us was thick, heavy with everything unspoken. She kept her gaze on the ground. "I've seen the headlines," she murmured. "Ethan's gone." The label dropped him. "Everyone's talking about that article about the truth. And?" I said quietly. "What does that have to do with you?" She looked up then and her voice trembled. "Everything. I lost everything, Ivy. The fans, the house, even him. He said I ruined his life." A bitter laugh escaped me. "That's funny. Because once, he and you ruined mine." "I know," she said quickly, tears brimming. "I know, and I'm sorry. I was scared. You were always better. Every time we wrote together, people looked at you, not me. I thought if I had him, maybe I'd finally matter." "So you betrayed me," I whispered. "I didn't mean for it to go that far," she said. "He promised me fame. I thought I could handle it." Her voice cracked. But the guilt, it never stopped. Every song he sang felt like a lie. I leaned back, letting her words wash over me. "You had choices. You could have told the truth. You could have stopped." "I was weak," she admitted. "I told myself you'd move on, that you didn't care anymore, that I didn't move on," I said. "I rebuilt." She wiped her tears with shaky hands. "When I heard Glass Hearts, I knew it was yours. Every word. It was you." I looked at her then, really looked. The woman who once glowed under the spotlight was now a shadow of herself. "You recognized yourself in the pain, didn't you?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, and it broke me." "I didn't write it to break you," I said. "I wrote it to heal myself." Sienna swallowed hard. "I'm sorry I stole your music. I'm sorry I took Ethan. I'm sorry for everything." "Sorry doesn't erase what you did," I said, but my voice was softer than I expected. "I know," she whispered, but I had to say it. I couldn't sleep until I did. We sat in silence. The world moved around us, cars honking, people laughing, coffee cups clinking, but we stayed still, trapped in the ghost of what used to be. She finally spoke again. "Do you hate me?" I looked at her and shook my head slowly. "No, hate was easy. I let go of that a long time ago." Her eyes widened. "Then you forgive me." I hesitated. "I forgive you, but not for you, for me. Carrying anger was like drinking poison and waiting for someone else to die." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I don't deserve it." "Maybe not," I said quietly. "But neither of us deserved what he did either." She covered her face, sobbing. I thought I'd feel better if I took your place. But it's empty. Fame without love is empty. You're learning, I said, standing up. It took me years to understand that too. She looked up desperately. Ivy, can we ever be friends again? I met her gaze steady and unflinching. No, some things can't go back to what they were. But I hope you find peace, her lips quivered. I don't know how. Start by being honest, I said. For once in your life. I turned to leave, but she grabbed my wrist. Thank you for not destroying me completely. I looked down at her hand and gently pulled free. You destroyed yourself. I just stopped covering the cracks. She let out a broken laugh. You always had the last word. Not the last, I said. Just the true one. I walked away. Behind me, I could hear her sobbing quietly, the sound fading with each step. The wind carried the faint scent of rain, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel bitterness in my chest, just a strange, quiet peace. As I reached the corner, my phone buzzed. A message from Rachel. The industry's talking about you. Tyler's new performance hit 1 million views in an hour. I smiled. Let them talk, I whispered. I've already said what I needed to. I looked back once. Sienna was still on the bench, small and broken, like the ghost of a song that had lost its melody. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her either. I just understood her now. I didn't need revenge, I murmured under my breath. I just needed you to feel what I felt. And as the rain began to fall, I walked into it without looking back, each drop washing away the last trace of what used to be. Ivy, the industry wants you back, Noah said, sliding his phone across the table. Headlines glowed on the screen. Glass Hearts breaks records again. The real writer behind the song speaks truth through art. I smiled faintly. I never left. I just stopped screaming for people who weren't listening. He grinned. You know, Tyler's performing at the awards next month. He said he won't sing without you in the crowd. Tyler doesn't need me there, I said. He's built his own fire. Yeah, but he still credits you every time, Noah replied. The song that saved me was written by Ivy Hale. His words, not mine. I blinked, trying to hide the warmth in my chest. He's kind. Most wouldn't admit it. Kind? Noah laughed. He's obsessed. You gave him a career, I shook my head. I gave him honesty. He gave it a voice. For a moment, silence settled. The cafe buzzed with people, the same one where I'd once met Rachel, where everything had begun to turn. Now it felt lighter, freer. So, Noah leaned in. You've got offers from 3 labels. One of them wants to rebrand you, tours, interviews, press. You'd finally get the spotlight you deserve. I sipped my coffee and said softly, I don't want their spotlight. I've learned it burns more than it shines, he frowned. You're saying no? I'm saying I'm done chasing validation. I want control. My own music. My own truth. He studied me for a long moment. You've changed. I had to, I said. I spent years writing songs for people who stole my words. Now I just want to write for myself. Noah leaned back. You sound peaceful, I smiled. For once I am. Later that evening, I visited the studio, my studio. The walls were bare except for a single framed lyric sheet, Glass Hearts. Tyler's voice echoed faintly from the speakers, filling the room with that raw ache that started it all. I sat at the piano, running my fingers across the keys. You've carried me through storms, I whispered. Time to write something new. As I played a soft melody, memories came like gentle waves. Ethan's betrayal, Sienna's tears, Rachel's article, the long nights of silence. But none of it hurt anymore. It just existed, a part of the song that led me here. The door creaked open. You working late again? Tyler's voice filled the space. I turned, smiling. You should be at rehearsal. I will be, he said, leaning against the wall. Just wanted to say thanks. People finally hear me, but they hear you through me. Don't give me credit for your talent, I said. You made the song live. He shook his head. Maybe, but you gave it a soul. I laughed softly. You're too poetic for your own good, he grinned. Guess it's contagious. We shared a moment of silence, comfortable and familiar. Then I said, you know, I've been working on something new. His eyes lit up. Another heartbreak anthem? I smiled. No, a rebirth. He stepped closer. What's it called? Still Here, he nodded slowly. That sounds like you. It is me, I said. After everything, I'm still here. Not broken. Not angry. Just alive, he gave a soft smile. Can I hear it? Not yet, I replied. It's not ready. I'm not writing it to hurt anyone this time. I'm writing it to heal. Tyler nodded in understanding. When you do finish it, I want to sing it with you. Maybe, I said. Or maybe this one's just for me, he chuckled. Fair. But if you ever change your mind, you know where to find me. After he left, I sat alone with the piano again. My fingers moved instinctively, forming the first notes of Still Here. The melody was soft but unyielding, a heartbeat that refused to fade. I began to hum the words under my breath. They tried to take my voice, but I learned to sing in silence. They tried to write my story, but I found my pen again. Each line felt like air returning to my lungs. I wasn't writing to prove something. I was writing because I could. The clock ticked past midnight. I looked around the studio, the dim lights, the empty coffee cups, the quiet hum of speakers. This was peace. Not applause, not fame. Just truth. My phone buzzed. Rachel again. You've inspired more than you know. They're calling Glass Hearts the anthem of honesty. I typed back, truth doesn't need an anthem. It just needs to be heard. When I set the phone down, I felt something shift inside me. Closure. Not the sharp kind that cuts, but the gentle kind that settles. I pressed one last chord and whispered, for every song they stole, I wrote one they couldn't touch. Then I closed my eyes and let the final note linger. This wasn't revenge. It wasn't redemption either. It was survival turned into art, and as the dawn light spilled across the piano keys, I smiled and said softly, I'm still here.